back to For the Love of Men podcast. My name's Courtney Shand, and I'm hosting with my dear friend Brianna Mosier.
Hello.
The intention of this show is to bring together men and women to create healthy, polarized relationship dynamics by learning how to honor each other's natural, masculine and feminine energetic core. Before we dive in, I want to introduce you to us, and then we are going to be talking about a follow-up part 2, part 3,
4, whatever. We love this segment.
Love this. Yeah, this is one of our favorites. The phrases women love to hear and why they work. So snag these, put them in your back pocket, guys, because this one is an alley-oop.
Yes. For bringing out the most feminine, empowered feminine version of her.
Thank you for clarifying. Not just for you to be gaining points, but because we want for you to bring out the most empowered version of her as well. So
points will be gained.
Points will be gained, I promise.
My work in the world, I know you're trying so hard to get me to intro and I keep talking. My work in the world is helping really driven, ambitious, independent women types embrace their feminine energy and learn how to date and relate in really healthy, empowered feminine ways, as well as heal their long-standing emotional wounds. There's somatic-based healing, so not just talking about it, although I know you're a great feeling intellectualizer, but really move it through your body. And then sensual work as well, sex, love, and intimacy work I do often with my clients. Courtney, you're in the men's space now. And the women's space, but you're in the men's space.
Yes, I've spent a decade in the women's space. I'm transitioning to working with men because I find that there is a particular personality type for men who often find themselves in the nice guy camp or the friend zone. And it is all about learning how to integrate that masculine energy and really bring that empowered masculine energy back online. He's awesome. He's in touch with his heart space. He's got his emotions. He's very aware of that. And there's a few minor shifts, 7 to be specific, that we need to elevate into that empowered masculine energy man that we know you guys are listening, and we talk about empowered masculine energy all the time. So learning to integrate and embody that in a way that changes the room when you walk in is
juicy.
So fun. Okay, speaking of empowered masculine energy.
Phrases women love to hear. You're not even ready.
I am. Let's go.
So literal. No, I'm ready. I'm ready. We're recording. I'm ready.
I'm here. We're ready. Go for it.
You want to go first?
I want to go first.
Go first.
A shout out to our first episode on TikTok. Go back and listen to. I wish I'd looked up what episode it was. It's in the 20s. We've been doing TikTok for that long. That's crazy.
And episodes.
Wow. Episodes we're in the 90s now. Okay, the first one is I've got it. I've got it, or I'll take care of it.
Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
The don't worry about it is just extra. I mean, like A++, cherry on top. That is, don't worry about it. I've got it. I'll take care of it. Whew, why is this so effective?
Because the emotional and mental labor women carry every day, I think a lot of men don't realize how often we're Tetrising in our heads. Not to say that you're not having that experience. I'm just speaking from my perspective. So when you say, I've got it, my brain is like, great, offload the task. I don't have to worry about it. I can depend on you. That's my man. He's got my back. And then don't worry about it. I don't have to check up on you. It's taken care of. It's a task off my brain, especially if you're someone who's really capable and generally independent. Learning to lean on a partner and having them consistently show up for you and use those phrases. The caveat is you have to actually mean it. Otherwise, it's not going to land the same way. You can say it, but if the action doesn't follow, that's going to actually backtrack you. Worse. But if you follow through on it, she learns, I can depend on you. I can lean on you. I'm safe. I don't have to do this on my own. Oh my gosh, that's my man. That's my king. He's got me. Melted into your feminine.
My body softens immediately. Even hearing my friend say it, my body has a visceral response. And I would say that's probably true for most women.
Yeah.
A visceral response.
You feel so supported and held.
Yes.
And like when she's not occupied with what she needs to get done and she feels supported, what you're going to bring out is all this empty space. You know what it gets filled by? Playfulness and warmth and creativity and, oh, I can relax. I can take care of myself. I can be present. I can actually listen to you and nurture you more because these things aren't on my brain. It opens up so much spaciousness to love and connect and bring out your feminine.
Her feminine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Oh,
what would you add? Anything?
I mean, I love that, because the mental load, we've talked about mental load before. We've got several episodes on that. Go back and listen to it. But it's not that she is not capable. It's that you are saying, I am here with you. And I would say that it will depend on the response that she has, will depend on the level of integration she has done of her own empowered feminine. And if that's something you're struggling with, Bree's your girl. Because the more that you can, this is just in my experience, in making that transition from like, I've got it, I can do all these things on my own, to like, you know what, actually I don't want to do it all on my own. There's a like integrated, healthy, empowered paradigm that we talk about all the time of like, I don't want to do this all by myself. It feels really good to reach out for support and have that met. It feels vulnerable when you're starting to practice that. So depending on what point the connection is in your process, your consistency of showing up is what's going to soften her even more. When she starts to realize that you actually mean this, and this is actually something that we as women have to teach. We've taught women this for years now, that men literally mean it. If they're offering it, they mean it. That is something that we were in our late 20s when we learned, like not something that we just come out knowing. And if you're in that hyper independent space, to rely on someone feels very vulnerable. So the more often you can like catch her and close that gap fairly consistently, you are going to be allowing her to soften into the version of her that I know you want.
So good. Yeah. So I'll take care of it. I've got it. Don't worry about it. We're back in sync.
Yeah.
Number 2?
Yeah. Oh, and then don't worry about it. That's a mental tab she gets to close. Yeah. Like, let's close that tab on the browser. That's opening up more bandwidth for you.
Totally.
So I'm so glad that you said that. Yeah. Well, this is a good one. I'm going to tee you up for this one.
Okay.
There's no rush. Take your time. There's no rush. Just take your time. Relax. Enjoy it. I'll keep the time. I'll let you know when it's time to ... whatever. Leave. Get ready. Whatever. To have a timekeeper.
It's so effective because you're letting the masculine part of her brain rest. So the part of her that was managing time or what needs to get done, offline. It's the same effect as if you ever had a partner as a woman, if you have a partner and you're in the airport together and he's walking ahead of you, getting you to the gate, he's got the bags. You don't know this, but your woman is like, what are we going to eat later? Oh, my man's so attractive. I don't have to think about anything. I'm so safe. I'm so taken care of. I'm so protected. I just want to be playful and have fun. It's that effect. So when you say, I'll watch the time for dinner, I've got it. No, it's like, go take your time, get ready. I'll take care of it. So you're going to let me know. One of my dear friends, her fiance, soon to be husband, gives her 10-minute warning and a 5-minute warning.
Brilliant.
And what I love is she asks him for it. She says, hey, I really am struggling with timekeeping today. Can you just let me know when I'm at like 10-minute, 5-minute, 2-minute mark? Because she loves to take her time, as all feminine beings do. Spaciousness is our love language.
Yep.
And he's like, I've got it. And I watch him sit there and watch the clock and tell her, okay, you've got about 7 minutes left. And she's like, thank you. I love you. And then when she comes out, also sidebar, he gives her the wow.
Oh, the wow.
You've never seen a man give a wow like you've seen this man give a wow to her. It's amazing. I actually recorded it once because I was like, this is so great to watch.
And she feels like $1 million walking into the world.
He wouldn't even leave for his appointment until she was done getting ready for our dinner because she wanted to be seen and he wanted to see her. I'm just saying, they have a great masculine feminine dance. It's like so sweet.
Oh my God.
I've sidetracked us once again, but
that's your job.
I'll keep the time. What does it do for you?
Oh my gosh. So I've had partners that have done this where they are the timekeeper. I would say I grew up in a household, just for context, where like 10 minutes early was 30 minutes late. So time consciousness is like baked in. I was born and raised in that environment. So to have a masculine partner say, I will keep the time, lets me come out of that and play and just soften into the experience of the getting ready, of being seen, of allowing myself to drop into what it feels like to be in the process and just let someone else manage the operations of things. So it is deeply relaxing to the nervous system, as opposed to him keeping time and watching me there's a different vibe. It's not me keeping time and you're like running late and I'm like, come on. It's a very much don't worry. I'm like, it's the same feeling of a man checking the space. Like when you walk into a space and he just kind of like scans the room. It I don't know if you ever have that feeling, but it just feels very safe to know like he's keeping an eye on the space and I can just follow where he's going because I can tell he's got it. The same thing is true with time. I do want to say, because the feminine, this is helpful men, because I don't think men understand this. The feminine has a different relationship to time than you do. We've all grown up in a very masculine, linear relationship with time. The feminine relationship with time is always each moment, this moment, this moment, this moment, this moment. That's all there is when it comes to time. It is eternal. It is like infinite. And so for you to be keeping the time is creating like a context. It's creating bookends for her, containing her so that she just gets to be in this moment the whole time. And that's where you're going to keep her in her heart space. You're going to keep her body soft and relaxed because you're the one who is kind of like guarding and protecting the time.
That is also why saying I already made a plan is so effective. Same thing, right? If you get the principle, then you can choose your adventure on how you communicate it. Saying like, hey, I already made a plan for tonight. It's going to be, I don't know, dressy, casual. See if anyone's dating Courtney, they should know this. You say, it's going to be dressy, casual. I made a plan. I think you're going to love it. I'll pick you up at 7. She doesn't think about anything. There's no emotional labor. There's no mental. Look at me.
I can't even hide it. Like my face will give me away every time.
We lost her. She's somewhere else now. And then I might spend the whole day getting ready and I'll be in my most feminine place because there's already a plan. It's a surprise. You've thought about me. Like, same feeling. I can be in the moment versus in my head having to come up with that plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How else does this play out for you?
She's trying to give me a layup so bad. So part of my work is in sex, love, and intimacy, right? So the analogy that I think makes a lot of sense for men is understanding that women's bodies and often our minds, it's so mental for women, as most of you probably know, but they're more like crockpots. So for a woman to really become truly fully aroused, and we're not just, okay, how deep do I want to go? We're not just looking for physical signs of arousal, like wetness, things like that, because that actually doesn't indicate that a woman is ready for, deeper touch or penetration or whatever it might be. There's not a total overlap between that. So even if her body's responding that way, she might not actually be ready. You should know that. So for her body to be fully aroused, sometimes it can take up to 40 minutes, an hour. I'm not saying you need to do that because there are other ways that both of you can learn how to speed it up, but men are more like crockpots. It's more like 7 to 11 minutes for them to get fully aroused. And
Microwave.
Sorry, thank you. Men are more like skillets.
Okay, yeah.
It's just like on there and cooking and it's done quickly, right? You're ready. You're like, I'm warmed up. Let's go. Let's get to the final act. And she's still dropping into her body. She's still detaching her mental load. That's why these things, if the browsers are closed, you're saving yourself time. I'm just saying, it's already present. So it might take her longer versus you are ready when you're ready, right? You're ready in 7 to 11 minutes. Give or take. These aren't factual numbers. They're just estimates of how long we know based on the studies, which are limited. So you saying to a woman in the bedroom, take your time, there's no rush. She's aware. Most women are aware that you're ready before her. And she's either spent her whole life trying to force her body to be ready before it's ready, or trying to hold a boundary and feeling like she's spoiling the fun. That's a lot of the felt experience for women because it takes longer. So you saying take as long as you need, like I got you. Like I don't have anywhere to be. There's nowhere else I'd rather be right now. Takes the pressure off her, immediately softens the tension in her body that wants to please you because it's always there.
Yep.
And wants to make you happy and also wants the satisfaction for herself too, eases. And when her body relaxes, she can actually become aroused more quickly and get there more quickly because there's no resistance of rushing and being preoccupied. When am I going to get there? And is he going to get frustrated and blah, blah, blah. But you have to mean it. If you say it and you don't mean it, and then you're actually rushing her or heavy sighing or resentful or you make a comment about your neck or whatever it might be, like she's going to hear that because it's the most vulnerable moment. Would you agree?
Yeah.
It's an incredibly vulnerable moment. Treat it with the utmost like care.
Delicacy.
Yes, because women have a lot of wounding around this and they want to make you happy. So I got you.
I'm
No
glad
rush.
that you went there, because this is a metaphor. We weren't coming on here to talk about it sexually, but it is a metaphor for the whole polarity experience. Because the more browser tabs you can close for her or on her behalf, the more present she gets to be with you. She gets to drop into the moment. She gets to drop into her body. The less tension her body is holding, the more present she gets to be, the more aroused and playful and animated her body is going to be in your presence. We want you to be the one that can unlock this version of her, because that is kind of like the point of being in a dating context or an intimate partnership with someone, is to, you get this part of her that no one else does. And if you have these concepts, these principles in your mind as to why we're doing these things, you are going to be getting the most present, embodied, sensual, experiential version of her that no one else gets. And when you can create that experience with her and for her, that is going to be the magic that she is going to be like, she meets new versions of herself in your presence. It's going to keep things novel and engaging, and you're always going to be evolving together. I think that's something that's a fear for a lot of people too, is like that you kind of get in this rut. So this applies whether you've been in a relationship for a long time or if the connection is new. When you understand these principles of what you're trying to accomplish and why it's so effective, you will be evolving together in a way where you meet a new version of her, she meets a new version of herself. You meet a new version of yourself in the presence of that version of her too. And so you kind of like keep doing this, like evolving together, and that's what keeps the chemistry alive for a long period of time. Right? I would say.
Love.
Yeah.
Different people all the time, same person.
Yes.
Especially the feminine. How many sides does she have? The limit does not exist.
Yes. Exactly. But I love that you said that, because it is vulnerable. If you could think about men, like it is vulnerable to be the one that is the slower party. If you were, in a relay race and you were the slowest leg of the race, it's not that you're not powerful or a good teammate. It's those are the stories that might go through your head of what that means. But it feels vulnerable for the person who is out of context, if you will. So we're trying to create some context for you to understand the world she's kind of living in and inhabiting, so that you can create that bridge for her, and let it be smooth. Let it not be something that is constrictive. You get to be the one, again, that releases tension. And anytime you can be the one that releases tension from a woman's body, a good spot to be. It's a lucky man.
Yeah, it's a good analogy. I was like, how do I say this?
Where are we going?
But not go into girl talk.
Where are we going?
All right, last one.
Yep.
Okay, one time, I'm going to tell you this story. One time when a guy had approached me, I was about to leave the place we were going. I was going to go pack up my stuff. And he said, all right, I'll come get you. And I was like, what just happened in my body? I think the words that came out of my mouth were, okay, come get me. And I was like, whoa, Brie, cool it.
She said, okay,
cool it.
Come get me.
Cool it. It makes me like a little heated even now. But this is why it worked, because, and Courtney has a great dance analogy to tell you after this. This is why it works, because it feels solid. You're not leaving me and then I need to find you. If I need to find you, my masculine is on. I'm not in my feminine, taking care of myself, organizing my stuff, excited. I'm thinking, where are you? How can I be in the right place at the right time? Because then we're going to make this exchange, right? That's my inner dialogue. Not a big deal, but it alleviated. My body was like, whoa, okay, so I can just frolic and do what I want, and you're going to come get me before you leave? So I'm just going to do my thing, and then you're going to be there tracking me, paying attention to where I am? Okay, come get me.
Come on.
I'm into it. It put me right into my feminine. I felt like, just a tiny little baby. That's what I was saying to Courtney before. It's like when someone says, all right, I'll come. He says, I'll come scoop you at 7. It's like,
Okay.
Scoopy. Okay. I'm just a girl. That's what it feels like, you know? The tiniest little scoop. Because I'm just a tiny, tiny girl.
You're just so strong.
You're just so big and strong, and I'm just tiny. Let's get your tiniest scoop.
Dainty.
Anyway,
Dainty.
I digress. In dance, this matters too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you guys have been following my dance evolution here. I've now moved into more of the Latin scene, which is really fun. And there's a lot more space for separation in the Latin space. Ballroom is very like you're working together, you're a team. The Latin space is like I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing, we're doing our thing together. And I see you doing your thing, you see me doing my thing. And we can do this as a team, and it's just different context. One of the things that I find really fun when teachers say things, I'm like, yep, that tracks, is that he's going to come back for you. If you don't have the confidence based on your skill set, if you're not very skillful, which I'm learning, I'm not going to admit that I'm terribly skillful at this, but you're building those skills to build your confidence to dance on your own. And that's a metaphor for what we teach women all the time and men all the time. You have to have the skills to be dancing on your own, or else this whole thing's going to be very rigid and not as fun. But when you have those skills, you can dance on your own, and he's coming back for me. I have to trust that he is coming back for me. And until he reaches back out for my hand, I am in charge of doing whatever I want to do. I can be as expressive. I can do my own thing. And again, this comes down to the skills that you have and the confidence that you have to be able to do that on your own. But he is coming back. If he doesn't come back, it would be weird. Like in dance context, it would be weird. We're dancing together and you never reach back out for me. That's going to feel really odd. Why would we be doing this together then?
Really trust the container.
It feels, yes, I say that to say it feels vulnerable to be the one that's waiting, because and that's why it's so important that you keep consistently closing that gap of I'm coming back for you, come back. Because she doesn't know when you're going to come back. We were just talking about this. She doesn't know when you're going to reach back out for her. There are some times where, depending on how long she's been doing it or how many like patterns she knows in her head of, oh, this is usually how this goes, she might be able to be like, okay, typically he's going to reach back out and connect with me here. But otherwise, if you're just spontaneously dancing, and the more skillful you are, the more spontaneous and creative it's going to be, she doesn't know when you're going to reach back out for her. And so to keep that in mind, her nervous system is going to be looking for that connection point so that she knows, I can just relax into this. I can relax into this. I can keep expressing. He's figuring out how to reconnect with me and bring me back in. That's another like really beautiful metaphor of dance, is it's his job to figure out how to bring me back in. I just get to keep doing my thing, and get to let it be an expression of me. His job is to figure out how to get me back into the connection. And I obviously get to be responsible for not tripping over myself and getting back into the connection. But it's going to be very calming for her nervous system, at least to be able to see when you're coming back, to feel, to sense, to in some way be able to know that your presence is still there. That's why this is so effective of I will come to you, because she doesn't know. She's never engaged with you before. We're kind of talking in dating context right now. But she doesn't know if you're going to come to her, if she needs to come to you. She's probably trying to be very conscientious of the fact that we're both adults. I could come to you just as easily. And what we always tell women is like, he can come to you just as easily too. And can that just be his responsibility to come to you or explain, hey, I need you to do this so that I can do this. That's going to clear up a lot on a nervous system level, put her back in her feminine and calm her down, because she sees he's thinking through this. He's thinking of me, and he is kind of like organizing how I'm going to get back reconnected with him. But you getting to see that is what calms the nervous system. Makes sense?
Yeah. And it's the same reason why we talk about consistency, when we talk about communication and you being consistent in it. That's what creates that feeling of stability. Like he's going to come back. What you might not know is what Courtney's saying. For the feminine, it's vulnerable because you're coming back. You're aware. Yes, I'll be back for her. I'm going to ask her out again, right? I'm going to reach out to her again. She doesn't know that.
So put yourself in her shoes.
This is why when we did the date episode, the post date,
yes,
we said, you need to catch her. Post date, she's so vulnerable. Like if you can ask for date 2 on date 1, amazing. But at least let it be within a day or two, because she's going, are you going to come get me? Do I matter? Like, not do I matter, but like, are you interested? Do I matter to you, right? Are you going to come back? She doesn't know.
Yeah.
You know, because you know your intentions.
Yeah.
It's vulnerable. So I'm going to come get you, but you got to mean it. All these things, you have to mean it. If you just say it and you don't follow through on it, I promise you will backfire.
Yeah.
It's actually going to erode trust.
Yeah.
And an empowered woman is going to turn the other way quite quickly. So don't do that. Mean it.
Yeah.
Use action.
Yeah. I love that. There was one more thing that was coming through of I'll come to you.
I'm going to come get you.
I'm going to come get you.
Not in a serial killer way, a loving, flirty way.
Serial killer way.
I'll come get you.
You know your intentions. You know your next step. And I think this is also a really great dance metaphor, because you don't actually have to give her any communication if you know what you're doing. You just do your thing. You do need to communicate with her if you want her to be participating in that thing. And that's all you're doing, is saying, hey, I'm going to come get you. I'm coming back for you. I would like to take you out again. All of those things are just letting her know. They're prepping her for what you need for her to contribute to the connection, so that you can keep vibing together and it can be really fun.
Love it.
Yeah. That's why it's so effective.
If you have phrases that you would add to our list that worked for you, tell us. If you're a woman listening, or if you're a man and you're wondering how things land, or if I say this, what will the effect be? Or I said this and it flopped, why? Please tell us. We would love some more interaction. We'd love to do Q&A episodes, hear from you guys. So let us know in the comments, or you can send us DMs. She's at Hey Courtney Shand. I'm at Building Bree Coaching. You can also do Courtney_Shand, but the men tend to find your inbox. Follow us over on TikTok, For the Love of Men podcast. We do have an Instagram at the For the Love of Men podcast as well. If you love the episode, share it. Share it. Share it. Share it. Cringe. All right. Well, we will see you in the next one.